Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. It's time for News Central now, and I am Judith TB. And these are the top stories at this hour. Heavy security presence as Lagos State House of Assembly holds a plenary. Accidental military airstrike kills 6 civilians in Katsina State. And 10 persons die in a building collapse in Egypt, Northern Africa. Details shortly. The leadership tussle in the Lagos State House of Assembly took a new twist on Monday with heavy security presence at the premises during a plenary session. Operatives of the Department State Service, dressed in black jackets and helmets and armed with weapons, struggled with the workers at the door. As of 10 a.m. local time, armed security personnel took over the premises of Alausa Ikeja and environs, frisking every passerby. Miranda, however, arrived with a convoy at about 11:15 a.m. The former Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, has sued the state lawmakers, challenging his removal as the Speaker of the Assembly. In the meantime, honorable members of the Lagos State House of Assembly have spoken out against the security invasion of the parliamentary premises, emphasizing their constitutional rights to elect their own leader. The lawmakers called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene in the matter. Earlier, our correspondent Chidima Ona gave an update on this development. Take a look.
We just witnessed the 36 members present at the House of Assembly passed their vote of confidence in favor of the newly elected Speaker, Mojisola Miranda. Now, it ended on a good note because the members here present, they all spoke in favor, and, you know, their emotions was that of a good one. It was a good emotion, and then it ended on a note of them calling on for the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to speak to the DG of DSS, to speak to their security officers. Okay, so the 36 members present here made a clarion call to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Spoke to the President, asking him to calling the attention of the DG, that's the Director General of the DSS, regarding the security officers present outside the premises. Now, on getting here, we noticed that, we saw security officers and their vehicles outside here. They were even at the park next to the Lagos State House, and from the outside, it felt tense. But on the inside, you know, there's a clear direction on where the members of the parliament are heading to, and they are standing firm on their decision that the newly elected Speaker, Mojisola Miranda, is their only speaker and is the only speaker that they recognize. Now, according to the vote of confidence that they passed, all the members present, they were truly satisfied with that, and you know, that would tell you everything you need to know about where they stand, in this situation.
In the meantime, tensions have escalated in Osun State as All Progressives Congress APC members attempted to take control of the Olorunda Local Government Secretariat in Osogbo. Armed police, along with operatives from the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and Amotekun Corps, were deployed to the area to maintain order. The gate to the Secretariat was closed and unauthorized individuals were barred from entry. Reports indicate that 2 individuals suspected of recording the events were assaulted and their phones were damaged. Additionally, hoodlums wielding charms were observed intimidating those attempting to document the situation. Osun State Commissioner for Rural Development Gani Olaoluwa addressed the crowd, urging them to remain peaceful and emphasizing that no illegal takeover would be permitted. Still on politics, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC has swept the chairmanship and councillorship elections in Katsina State. The chairman of the Katsina State Independent Electoral Commission, Lawal Al-Hassan, declared APC winners of all 34 chairmanship and 361 councillorship positions. Al-Hassan explained that result collation was delayed due to late submissions from some local governments. The elections featured 5 political parties, including Accord, AAC, ADC, APC, and Boot Party. Reacting to the outcome, Katsina IPAC chairman Salima Boyi conceded defeat, urging unity for state development. Governor Tiku Umar Rada congratulated the winners, emphasizing the importance of good governance at the grassroots level. And now to security matters, where at least 6 civilians were killed in a mistaken airstrike, by the Nigerian Army in Katsina State. Residents say an army jet dropped a bomb on huts in Zaka village, Safana district on Saturday while pursuing bandits who had earlier attacked a police base, killing 3 security personnel. The Nigerian military has yet to comment, but Amnesty International reports the death toll as 10 and is demanding an urgent investigation. This is the latest in a series of accidental military airstrikes in northern Nigeria, with previous incidents killing dozens of civilians. Authorities continue battling criminal gangs terrorizing communities, but residents fear the increasing toll of collateral damage. Still on security matters, a video showing a young boy confessing to ongoing military training in Borno forest has sparked public outrage, fearing or raising fears of insurgent recruitment. Residents have recounted missing children cases linking them to militant activities. The hashtag Bring Back Our Girls movement has renewed calls for transparency in the search for 78 still missing Chibok girls. Authorities have confirmed at least 1 child disappearance per week in the state. With some cases resolved, however, the police have dismissed concerns about recent child soldier recruitment. Borno's security advisor has blamed ISWAP for using vulnerable children as combatants. Meanwhile, the government have pledged continued military efforts but cited risk of collateral damage. Residents have urged urgent action, calling for forest raids to rescue missing children and curb further recruitment by insurgent groups. Staying now on to Borno State, still in Borno State, donning colorful outfits and showing a very vibrant cultural displays, hunters in Nigeria's northeast gathered to celebrate their victories in supporting the military to restore peace and protect the region. Traditional dances showcasing the hunters' heritage took center stage, with participants wielding their handcrafted weapons while performing symbolic movements. News Central's Umaru Kirawa witnessed the occasion and now reports.
In the bush, alongside the military, are hunters on a mission to assess a deserted community for resettlement in Nigeria's northeast. The hunters have been instrumental in the counter-insurgency operations in the region. Gunshots rent the air as the Borno hunters celebrate years of victory with cheers.
Saasidia Karina Oso 27 local government all gaba daya sabtin am kare kulo sabsa dazi Karina samma bonye isa am kulo rochistuma baro walja ke yaye ga kulo ndazu inde siku am shima da ladu fulunye kwalle aro awo adai samno sabtiyo dia ladu bularo chisanye bade.
The local hunters submit all their guns here, an age-old tradition known as Zaupaltu, which has been sustained to pray and seek God intervention in all their operations.
Local government osoro lenyen bala osoro lenyen jamandin dara na son beji chidanyen shin mukonno.
Maigana Maidurma, leader of the hunters, alongside his team of lieutenants, arrived the venue of the historic gathering, which commenced with the slaughtering of sacrificial animal.
Lirakaran and their soldier, police, civil defense, civilian GTP and the hunters clan da later than Knasar J, Nakadan, Nasarafandena, and the Klaller in Diabalandian, what Gonyana inshallah be easy in Latala, Chidanian.
Women are also a critical component of the hunting community.
Nak Monday and their Sadana also Masquachira Sadin, Ala Duno Zaraduna Asra, Ala Kilewa Sule, and the Urata Rulera, Legana de Ala and their Laisu.
On the sidelines, herbalists also showcase their talent amidst cheers from children.
Usually our forefathers used to organize this type of occasion as we did now more than 90 years now.
Inshallah kuma ba za mu gaza ba duk abin da gwamnati ta ce za mu yi inshallah za mu bi.
Their joy now is the return of peace after over 13 years of insurgency that dislocated countless communities in the lectured region.
These are gunshots of joy by local hunters in Nigeria's northeast, and there for them to celebrate years of victory after supporting the military and other armed forces in Nigeria's northeast in the quest to finding lasting peace in the region. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Earlier, we told you of the news of mistaken airstrike that killed 10 civilians. And to continue with this discussion, we're joined by security analyst and executive director, Elixir Trust Foundation, Emmanuel Ekule. Mano, many thanks for doing this with us. Let's just get started, shall we? Another military accidental strike. This is, at this point, one too many in the past year. Now another this time around. What are your thoughts in this mistaken accidental strikes?
For me, it has always been a sad situation for us. I believe that trained personnel like the Nigerian Armed Forces should have the professional expertise to be able to address these concerns better, using kinetic and non-kinetic means in carrying out interventions or in their operations. But over time, it has not been so, and it has led to the lives, the killings of a lot of citizens. And there's hardly any state in the Northeast or even Northwest that we have not got this type of report before. So for me, I'm looking at there's need for reevaluation of their operations in the Northeast and Northwest. Immediate examinations of their operations. At the same time, Nigeria should now start also looking at how they can start using the laws, existing laws, to also punish persons responsible for these mistakes. We cannot keep doing, no country, even other countries that Nigeria is better than, we don't get these reports. So we can start looking at the Constitution. We have rights to life. A lot of persons have been denied their right to life. What can be done to at least compensate those families that have lost their loved ones? What can be done also to the culprits or those that have failed to carry out these attacks while ensuring that we have less casualties? Nigeria is also signatory to a lot of international regulations. So the federal government should look into this and see how punishment can be meted out, families can be compensated. At the same time, there's a crying need for reevaluation or review of existing curriculum of security law enforcement officers in general in the country, because we cannot cope and we cannot continue like this. Something has to be done urgently.
And I mean, you just talked about intelligence and now surveillance, right? So what role do they play in minimizing the likelihood of accidental, civilian casualties during military operations? Is it a matter of intelligence? Is it a matter of surveillance? Or is it just a matter of, tactic?
It's when you look at intervention generally, law enforcement officers in Nigeria has been reactionary. Most times they only react to situations. They don't plan before going to the field. If you look at the reports, there were cases of elections being done and the loss of some lives of law enforcement officers. And this is something that has been occurring over and over again. Anytime you hear that a military officer or so have been killed or has been attacked in any place at all, you see them going back to just kill people at random. They have done this over and over again. So gradually from being protectors, they are becoming predators. So there should be checks. If you cannot bring them to order, then it means they have gone rogue, and which is bad for a country like ours that is looking at growing. So another thing is the equipment we have. Is it that the persons manning them lack the capacity in handling it? There have been a lot of cases of drones killing people in hundreds, keeping people in great numbers. The question is, who will be the next person? Once you find yourself in any of these areas, then it means you can also fall victims. And that has limited, maybe will limit a lot of lives. What you are planning to achieve tomorrow, all that will be cut short. If these persons were breadwinners of their family, what has happened? The issue is the federal government will pay lip service anytime the military do anything. You only come and hear that they were airstrike. Accidentally. These are professionals. You are being trained to do this. It's not by chance. It's not by mistake. Not that you were just recruited now to carry out this intervention. All this while, you know this terrain. You are Nigerians. So it's not a new situation. It's not a new terrain. Everything you are aware of. And if you have spent trillions or billions of naira every year buying equipment and buying drones, is it that we don't have the capacity to man them, or we don't have improved equipment that can help us even check whether we'll be having a lot of casualties if these attacks or these operations happen? These things already, these persons should know. So I find it, sometimes I feel some of these actions are deliberate.
Yeah, I mean,
in some areas, we start looking at maybe cases where maybe some minerals have been discovered, and then it starts looking at some of these attacks to scare people to run away from such locations.
Emmanuel, these are your thoughts. But let's just say this, right? And hopefully, you can see it from a bird's view point of view, if that makes any sense. These strikes happen to be in very populated areas, or at least they are populated, not very, but they are populated. We saw the one area this year, or was it late last year, where it was our correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu did a fantastic job of that, where they said they were attacking Lokorawa members, but it turns out to be many of them had been settling, living there, and they were members of the communities, and they knew them, And then this also is another case, 10 persons who are civilians who are living in that area, and this happened on Saturday, and we're just finding out on Monday. And so the question is it that they're not ensuring proper identification of their targets before launching the airstrikes, especially in these areas?
For me, for a professional body, just like I said earlier, before operations are being done in area, and with also the equipments the military have come out to say they have, we shouldn't be thinking about something like this. I have been privileged to work in displaced IDP camp, where crisis environment in a refugee camp. And even those persons working in those locations, there's profiling of persons. Even people living in an area, they know each other. They know. So, and if military, there's no law enforcement, even at the level of vigilante, if they stay in a particular location for just a week, they will know almost every person living in that area or following or using certain routes. This is something I know because I work closely with these persons. They are professionals, they know. But if with their knowledge, these things are still happening, that means there is something unknown yet to us. At the same time, there have been reports over time. I think there was 2023 when NEMA reported that about 80-something persons died. Amnesty came out with about 120 persons. So there's always also this case that whenever we get numbers of maybe 6 persons have died, they may end up being like 34 persons that have died.
Right.
And unfortunately, also, most times we don't have TV or radio stations or press or media in those particular areas that are on ground directly to give a first-hand information immediately if these things happen. So most times we get is reported speech or what the law enforcement officers decide to sell or give to us.
Right. I mean, Emmanuel, I must say thank you because we're out of time. But many thanks for doing this with us and just giving us a bit of your insight there. Emmanuel Ikulu, he is the Executive Director and Security Analyst as well, Security Executive Director, Elixir Trust Foundation. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we come back on the other side, the federal government deploys security agents as Nigeria Labour Congress insists on protests over telecoms tariff hike. The details after the break. Join us again. Welcome back. Efforts by the Enugu State Government to discourage its residents from complying with a Monday sit-at-home order imposed by the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra group may not have yielded the best results. News Central's Marshal Anthony Onoye took a tour of the capital city and gave us updates only hours ago about how many are still mindful of attacks by unknown gunmen. Take a look.
another Monday in Enugu State. We are the capital city, and what you have is what we would rather call irregular movement. There's nothing regular about the way the people seem to be getting along. The sit-at-home has been here for a while, where people are mandated to stay at home against their will, but thanks to the governor, you have him instructing that the sit-at-home ceases to exist, and he has said that anyone who doesn't turn up at work should not be paid. So what you find is essential workers trying to find a way to get from their houses to their places of work, and then you have majority of the Enugu residents still locking themselves behind closed doors in their homes for fear of being lynched by the unknown gunmen, what has come to be known as the unknown gunmen, or the suspected IPOB. You'd also have some set of people like the commercial bus drivers and the commercial keke operators, try to go out to see the passengers that they can carry along. Their movement at its very, very minimal. For us to even trying to get around has been pretty difficult, because there are places where you venture into and find that not a single person is on the road. So you want to be careful and cautionary when plying such roads.
This sit-at-home problem has a social and economic impacts in the society in Enugu as a whole. One is the issue of school education. We are affected so much to the extent that you see most parents, especially the private, the government schools that you are under compulsion to come to school, to report to school, but in that of the private, some of the parents will not want their children to come out. So we say, okay, let him stay or her stay home, then from Tuesday you can continue going, because anything can happen. And nobody, even most of the victims, nothing was done. So you see people burying their loved ones, and nobody wants to experience such. Then another point is on the issue of it has reduced individual earning. Sometimes there are people in the society, they only depend on the income they can make on a daily basis for them to survive. But this sit-at-home problem has become so terrible that to come out is a very big problem. So most of them stay at home, maybe going hungry, and you can know the effect of going hungry in the Enugu State.
Away from security matters, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps have warned the Nigerian Labour Congress against its planned March 1st shutdown of telecommunication services in response to recent 50% tariff hike. The Private Telecommunications and Communications Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the Association of Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria similarly pushed back against the NLC's planned boycott of telecom services and shutdown of telecom infrastructure, arguing that such actions are misguided and could harm the industry. The spokesman for the NSCDC, Babawale Afolabi, said the agency had deployed operatives to the base stations to prevent any action by the protesters. The NLC announced its intention to shut down telecoms operations around the country if the tariff hike was not reversed by the end of February. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, has urged the U.S. to follow established protocols when deporting immigrants. Speaking after a meeting with U.S. Ambassador Richard Mills Jr., she expressed concerns over the potential suspension of the drop-box visa system and the impact of deportations on Nigerians. She revealed that 201 Nigerians are in U.S. immigration camps, with 85 cleared for deportation. Bianca called for humane deportation procedures and clarity on student visa policies. Mills, however, assured that the drop-box system is under review, not suspended, and that USAID remains committed to humanitarian aid. He further confirmed that deported Nigerians will be returned to Lagos with initial repatriations involving convicted criminals and immigration violators. Away from that, activist and lawyer Dele Farotimi has disclosed that he still faces 4 separate lawsuits filed by members of Are Afe Babalola's law office, despite the withdrawal of criminal charges against him. Farotimi also stated that while Afe Babalola, the senior advocate of Nigeria, withdrew his petition, civil cases remain ongoing across multiple states. He emphasized that his book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, is a research critique of systemic corruption in the judiciary, not a personal attack. He, however, maintained that his work challenges the legal system rather than individuals and criticized those dismissing his book without reading it. Farotimi insisted that Nigeria must confront uncomfortable truths to achieve real reform, arguing that the system rewards deception and punishes truth. And 48 hours after the demise of Pa Ayo Adebanjo, the national leader of the Yoruba socio-cultural group Afenifere, dignitaries have continued to flock to his residence to pay tribute and condole with the family. Centro's Igbalani Omoni has more in this report.
Ayo Adebanjo, the renowned Afenifere national leader, has passed away, leaving behind a legacy of fighting for justice and equality. As news of his demise spread, dignitaries from various walks of life have been trooping in to pay their last respect and condole with the family. 2 days after his passing, the influx of visitors continues, with major political and religious figures, government officials, friends and family members all coming to honor his memory. Today, notable visitors included Pastor E.A. Adeboye, Peter Obi, Badebo Road Survivor, and Eunice Tanko, amongst others, who shared stories and reflections on Pa Adebanjo's enduring legacy.
Our nation, Nigeria, have lost something very, very, very important. Somebody who fearlessly, courageously fought for justice, fairness, and what is right. And most importantly, remain consistently consistent to the end.
He's like a father to me, and I must confess how he supported my administration, despite the fact that we didn't at that time belong to the same political party. That underscores the fact that this is a man of principles, and he exhibited that to the end.
He's unapologetically consistent, and that is something that is so rare in today's politics, and it's something that sets the light on a path for that it's okay to stand your ground. It's okay to stand for something because people will remember you for that thing, and that's what we are seeing today.
He's really the father of all, so he has children across board who would step up, both from within the family and outside. You have various people. I mean, he's done the best in educating us to the best of his ability. It's now really up to us, and we would see, as they say, fortune favors the brave, so we just have to assert our own marks individually.
Former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, alongside Afenifere groups, has been celebrating Pa Adebanjo's life and contributions to Nigerian society, acknowledging his tireless effort to promote unity, justice, and progress.
We'll remember him for his great courage, for his dedication to the region, and to all national causes that he participated in. We pray that his memory will always be blessed.
He was a great leader of Afenifere, a destabilized Nigerian, not perturbed by sentiment nor peculiar gains. He was truly a trench man, a great and formidable papa. You have fought the good fight.
As the nation mourns the loss of this iconic leader, his family and loved ones take comfort in the outpouring of support and tributes from across the country. In Lagos, for News Central, Igbalani Omni.
And off to South Nigeria, where residents of Ogbe Ijo Kingdom in Warri Southwest Local Government Area of Delta State are calling for government presence. The distraught residents say they have nothing to show forth for the fact that they are an oil host community. Earlier, our correspondent Biola Festus spoke to some affected residents. Take a look.
Right now in our community, we have so many projects that have not been done, where the indigents are going through a lot, where life is very harsh on them. As you can see, we don't have proper drinkable water in our place, where there is no fresh water we can drink, where there is no school, there is no secondary school in our places, there is no hospital for women and children to go. I think there is no light in our places. So I think the people are living in abject poverty. And I'm the son of the soil. I think it's very wise for government to come to our aid. So I'll plead and appeal to the government to come to our aid, because these people, they are passing through a lot and they are distributing to Nigeria's peak. They are one of the producers in the oil sector here. So I appeal to the federal government and the state government to please bring some projects to escape the people from this.
Nigeria's federal government has been tasked to allocate equal resources for the development of both boys and girls in the country. And this was during the launch of a girl-led research aimed at addressing the challenges faced by Nigerian girls by the Action Aid Nigeria. Our correspondent Joshua Marayi was at the event and filed this report.
The girl-led research celebrates a milestone in girl child development, addressing critical issues such as girl-child marriage, access to education, gender-based violence, menstrual health, economic barriers and harmful gender norms. Stakeholders say the research empowered girls with participatory knowledge, enabling them to speak on issues affecting their well-being.
One of the things that we are celebrating about this research is that it emphasizes the importance of giving girls, adolescent girls, power, resources and knowledge to be able to conduct participatory research that will enable them to have a voice regarding their experiences and challenges, while also contributing to solutions that affect their lives.
Young researchers in Abuja, Jigawa, and Freetown in Sierra Leone have amplified their voices, shedding light in critical issues such as child marriage, access to education, gender-based violence, menstrual health, economic barriers, and harmful gender norms.
They also add that the research focuses on the development of both the male child and girls in underdeveloped rural communities.
As much as this is a girl-led research, it was also important for us to get the views of the boys in regards to this research, so we ensured that during the research, and we also prioritize reaching the indigenous communities. That's the Gani community in the FCT. These are girls that are usually not included in programs, and so we targeted girls in underserved and rural communities, and this gave us a balanced view for this research. Also, girls living with disability were also very much engaged during this research.
The researchers called on government, including stakeholders, to urgently implement the key findings of the study.
We also want the government to make the internet a safe space for the girls through the use of school curriculum. We also want the government to ensure for equal allocation of resources between the male and the female gender.
Stakeholders say that groundbreaking research like this on girl-child development will change cultural norms that discriminate girls based on their gender, stunning their development. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Christian gatherings have long played a crucial role in shaping faith communities, offering spiritual renewal and a sense of belonging. In Nigeria, where faith is deeply woven into daily life, events that glorify God serves as a means to strengthen Christian unity and inspire societal transformation. One such gathering, Rekindle the Concert, took place in Lagos, bringing together worshippers, ministers, and gospel artists in an evening of praise, impactation, and reflection. News Central's correspondent Chidima Ona reports.
In a world where distractions pull people away from faith, gatherings like Rekindle the Concert serve as a callback to the essence of Christian fellowship. The event held in Victoria Island, Lagos, was more than just a worship concert. It was a collective effort to inspire believers to walk in unity and purpose.
This Rekindle the concert is like a clarion call to say, hey, wake up, rekindle that fire that once burned. So we've come together to say, to ginger us and to let us know that even if the fire had burned once, there's still need for you to keep rekindling it so that it doesn't go out. We need to be true to ourselves. Know God for yourself so that you don't get tossed easily by anything or by everything.
Sometimes we can lose energy. The psalmist says, it restores my soul. So if you're consistent, even when you're getting weary, you can be assured of the fact that God renews strength. So consistency is my word for every believer that is in the pursuit of God. Don't give up, keep at it, keep going, and you will surely get there, get to the climax.
The night featured soul-stirring performances from renowned gospel artists, deep moments of prayer, and messages aimed at restoring faith and renewing minds. Beyond the melodies and harmonies, the core message remained clear: empowered Christians can transform Nigeria.
We can only become better as long as we follow Christ. Anything outside Christ will become crisis for us. Keep Jesus as your focus. Our message is Jesus, our brand is Jesus, and Jesus remains the ultimate, nothing else. It is not about us, it will never be about us. It remains only Jesus.
As Christians, when you know who you are, then you're able to walk tall, regardless of whatever situation you may be, knowing that you are God's child and God has the best for you. So if you have that at the back of your mind, no matter the challenges, because they will come, no matter the temptations, because they will come, just know that you are not alone in that situation. God is with you, and if you make up your mind not to compromise, He will see you through.
Our focus has been on the things of the world, and we need to refocus and get our focus on Christ, the one in whose identity we are made in.
With the rising need for moral leadership and unity, faith-based gatherings are becoming more than religious events. They are movements that equip individuals with values that extend beyond the church walls. In Lagos, reporting for News Central, I am Chidinma Ona.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. Coming up, 10 persons die in a building collapse in Egypt, Northern Africa. Details after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. As the news continues in the north of Africa, where tragic building collapse in Cairo's working-class Dassa neighborhood has claimed the lives of 10 people and left 8 others injured, according to authorities. Rescue teams have rushed to the scene searching for more potential survivors believed to be trapped under the rubble. Eyewitnesses reported that a gas cylinder explosion triggered the collapse. Meanwhile, authorities have launched a police investigation into the incident. This disaster highlights the ongoing issues with building regulations in Cairo, where enforcement remains inconsistent. The city, home to over 26 million people, has witnessed several similar tragedies in recent years, often linked to dilapidated structures and non-compliance with safety standards. In the meantime, in a dramatic escalation of the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, M23 rebels, reportedly backed by Rwanda, have seized control of Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu province. This strategic city, home to nearly 1 million residents, fell to the rebels on Friday, February 14th, 2025, following minimal resistance from Congolese forces. The capture of Bukavu has triggered a massive exodus, with thousands of Congolese refugees fleeing across the Ruzizi River into neighboring Burundi. Reports indicate that over 10,000 refugees have arrived in Burundi's province Cibitoke since Friday, with more continuing to cross the border. Burundi's interior minister has confirmed the influx, noting that many refugees fled in panic upon hearing of Kugavu's fall. South Africa's Judicial Conduct Committee has overturned the dismissal of a complaint by Henry Oka, the jailed former leader of Nigeria's movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta Men. A four-member panel ruled that Oka's appeal documents were allegedly tampered with, leading to his case being referred for inquiry. Oka accused Chief Justice Raymond Zudon of directing court staff to alter documents, which he claims led to the dismissal of his appeal. The committee noted that Zudon failed to respond to the allegations and ordered further investigation. Oka, serving a 24-year sentence in South Africa for terrorism, maintains his conviction violated constitutional and international laws. Just outside the continent, a former surgeon is set to stand trial later this month for allegedly raping or sexually assaulting nearly 300 former patients, most of them children, many unconscious under 25 years across Western France. The sheer scale and horror of the allegations against 74-year-old Joel Al-Skonek means his 4-month trial, due to start on February 24th, will likely have an immense impact at home and abroad. The trial is in the city of Vannes in Brittany, will be held in public, but 7 days of testimony from victims who were targeted, while minors will be behind closed doors. According to regional prosecutor, Laskonek has generally acknowledged his involvement in many of the events in question, as well as his concealment strategies. And in business, the Monetary Policy Committee, NPC, meets on February 19th to 20th, with analysts expecting the Central Bank of Nigeria to maintain the current monetary policy rate, NPR, of 27.5%. The decision is influenced by the recent rebasing of Nigeria's Consumer Price Index, CPI, and the need to allow previous interest rate hikes to take effect. Economists predict interest rate easing to start in the second half of 2025, pending improved inflation and economic stability. The Nigerian Naira has seen its most significant rally in 13 years, strengthening by 9% from 1,662 naira to $1 on December 2nd to 1,509 naira by February 13th, making it to the top performing African currency. In January, the naira appreciated by 4%, reaching a 7-month high of 1,478 naira 22 kobo per dollar. Although the rally has slightly cooled in February, with the currency stabilizing around 1,500 naira to $1, it remains strong in the parallel markets, climbing to 1,545 naira to $1 from 1,620 naira to $1 at the beginning of the month. This performance suggests a more sustained recovery compared to the short-lived surge in 2024. Neymar ended a 14-month goal drought on Sunday, netting his first goal for Santos since returning to his boyhood club. The 33-year-old scored a 14th-minute penalty in Santos' 3-1 victory over 4th Division side Agua Santa in the Sao Paulo State Championship. This marked Neymar's 137th goal in 229 appearances for Santos, the club he left in 2013 for Barcelona. His last goal before Sunday came on October 3rd, 2023 for Al Ahly in the Asian Champions League. Following injuries and a contract termination with the Saudi club, Neymar returned home. In addition to scoring, he also registered his first assist since rejoining Santos, showing glimpses of his past brilliance. The Football Association is investigating an alleged racist remark directed at Burnley midfielder Hannibal Menja during Saturday's match against Preston North End. Hannibal accused Preston's Militin Osmanjic of making a racist comment during the 0-0 draw at Deepdale. While Osmanjic has strongly denied the claim, Hannibal immediately reported the incident to referee Andrew Kitchen. The FA is awaiting the official match report, while Burnley has pledged full support for the 22-year-old. Hannibal later stated on Instagram, quote, "I will not be silent about what happened. I will always call out racism whenever I hear or see it," end quote. The teams will face each other again in the FA Cup 5th round on March 1st. Rwanda suffered a 75-89 defeat at the hands of Morocco in the Piers' first warm-up match ahead of the upcoming Afro-Basket qualifiers in Rabat from February 21st to 23rd. The game took place at the Bouzazou Sale Court in Rabat, Morocco. Now, Morocco, who will host Groups A and C of the qualifying window, won the first quarter 21-14, but Rwanda regrouped to claim the second quarter 21-20. Back in the second half, Sheikh Sar's side claimed the third quarter 27-23 to narrow Morocco's lead to just 2 points before the hosts came back strong to dominate the final quarter 25-13 and bag the win. Power forward William Rubens was Rwanda's scorer with a team-high 16 points. The two teams returned to action for the second build-up game on Tuesday, February 18th. And that will be tomorrow. But in the meantime, that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Heavy security presence as Lagos State House of Assembly held plenary. Accidental military airstrike has killed 6 civilians in Katsina State. And we also told you that 10 persons have died in a building collapse in Egypt, Northern Africa. As always, you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422 on Star Times, channel 274. We're also on Apple TV, and we're streamed live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Judith at TV. Bye for now.